Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time here, this is the Custom Built and Screwed podcast. My name is Eric, and if learning about what is currently influencing housing affordability, construction costs, or delayed timelines, then you are in the right place. And hey, I reserve the right to talk about issues and items going on in the world that I find interesting or annoying. This week, we are going to talk about the ongoing North Shore wastewater treatment plant boondoggle, an example of an unscrupulous developer and what I think about that, ongoing DCC issues, trade and tariff woes and how that's affecting house pricing and cost of construction. To wrap it up, we are going to have a gentle dive into the OCP, Official Community Plan Update for the District of North Vancouver. Let's dive in. There are some crazy things going on, and I think before we really lean into people, let's have a little bit of some background information on this wastewater treatment plant. I got a few little statistics here prepared for us. All right. So the original budget, and this was from 2013, apparently $700 million. And that's from 2013. It was later adjusted up to 1.05 billion or 1.058 billion in 2020. And then again, it was updated in March of 24 to 3.86 billion. So I think we can all safely assume that that number is probably going to increase, which is really alarming. The original contractor on the project was Aconia ACCIONA. Wastewater Solutions. Metro Vancouver fired them, according to Metro Vancouver, for failing to meet obligations and schedule in June of 2021. At that point in time, Acona, how the hell do you pronounce that? Acciona Wastewater sought 26 more months and almost double the original contract price. So in 2021, they went back to Metro Vancouver and said, hey, we need more money. In September of 21, they laid off most of the site staff. Why the original contractor was fired? Failure to meet obligations and schedule. In June 2021, Acciona sought approximately 26 more months and almost double the original contract price. In September of 2021, layoffs of most site staff led Metro Vancouver to lose confidence. Termination for default effective January 20th, 2022. So Acciona disputes this and alleges that greater than 1,000 major scope changes were issued by Metro Vancouver. Plot thickens. The new contractor is PCL West Coast, or PCL Constructors West Coast, and they were brought in 2022, obviously after Acciona and Metro Vancouver parted ways. What is driving up the budget blow up? Market and macro costs. So, I mean, obviously since COVID, we've had some tremendous amounts of cost increases across the board. We have seen inflation just rip. And I mean, I can only imagine if you're a contractor and you have quoted a job in 2019 and you are getting to that portion of the job in 2023, I mean, yeah, the prices are going to have significantly changed since then. I mean, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, even if you were 2 years later, the costs of things just went through the roof during COVID. And I mean, that's what happens when you have governments across the globe printing money. They devalue our dollar, and that's how inflation works. So then the other issue is rework and deficiency. So Metro Vancouver officials have pointed to major infrastructure issues with the concrete, implying costly remediation before things can get restarted. Site and geotechnical complexity. So it's a small, irregular industrial site hemmed in by CN rail and shipyards, which required ground improvements, preloading, vibro stone columns, and careful staging, which cost additional material, time, and money. Scope of uplift, a smaller portion of that. Upgrade from secondary to tertiary filtration. Metro Vancouver asked them to make the wastewater treatment plant better, and that happened in 2019. That added 29 million at that point in time. Metro is saying that that's a small portion of the total. Fine. We now are at $3.86 billion. And you know what? I see a lot of government official, mayors, councillors, bureaucrats. I see a lot of lips moving and not any accountability. This is the kind of stuff that really tears at the ability for constituents to trust their leadership. This is such an egregious overrun. It is not even funny. Like, I can't even 4 times the cost and at $1 billion. Like, if I told a client their house was going to, not that it would, but I mean, better example, if I told a client that their house was going to cost $2.5 million to build, then, you know, through to the end of forming, I come back to them and say, oh, by the way, the cost has now gone up to $10 million. I am pretty sure that I'm going to get fired. So why aren't heads rolling at Metro Vancouver? Why aren't bureaucrats in the unemployment lineups? We need accountability. We need reasoning, and we need accountability. People need to lose their jobs. It is that simple. This level of incompetence is unbelievable. And if you are not upset about it, you need to be. Even if you don't live on the North Shore. I mean, it should just drive you crazy that this sort of waste is going on. So I don't want to belabor the point too much today. I want to, and I think I will, as we move forward, probably every week, maybe every other week, we're definitely going to continue to touch base on this, because I think it's really important to make sure we continue the dialogue and we don't let this thing die away. I mean, this is just not okay. Now, let's talk about an unscrupulous developer. On last week's pod, I was here defending developers and saying how we need to protect them, and we do. But now I kind of have to roll back my comments a little bit, I feel. So let's talk about this. The person or the company that I am talking about is, what's the developer's name here? I got it handy. Green Park Group. And this is in Oakville, Ontario. The development that I'm referring to is called The Post. In 2022, this developer sold 168 units, and I believe they sold like 145 or so units at approximately $1,100 a square foot. My understanding is for that area, $1,100 a square foot is always a fairly inflated number. Nonetheless, buyer beware. People paid that price, and life moves on. They are offering 1 beds from $320K, 2 bedrooms from $400K, and 3 is around $600. From the original listing price, that is a 35 to 40% haircut. So we have people that paid $1,100 a square foot in 2022 during pre-sales, and they are now getting blown out at $675 a square foot. We got some good quotes here. Market watchers call it the Oakville rug pull. Green Park just reset the whole cookie cutter condo market. That's from Reddit. Reports say the reset covered 23 units, a velocity play to exit rather than sit and carry the properties. Again, Reddit. For context, Oakville pre-con averaged $1,160 per foot recently. This undercuts the citywide pre-con average by 40%. That's from a website, GTA Homes. I don't know what or if we should do anything about it. But, you know, I feel like a bit of a schmuck when I'm sitting here going on about how we need to protect developers and we need to make sure that we give them the ability to do their jobs. Within a couple of days of me recording that video anyways, this news comes out. I felt like such a schmuck. But again, like we need developers to develop. I mean, it's a critical thing that we need. But in the same breath, for somebody to come in and do this to their other clients, like, my goodness, I don't know how to solve that problem. And if you have an idea of how to solve that problem, I'd love to hear it in the comments below, because I just do not get it. I do not get how that is allowed to happen. And I mean, God, just brutal. Moving along now. Let's talk about developer community contributions. Now, I just finished saying that these developers are, selling these other units for nothing, but we still have massive DCC problems, which are really affecting the cost of home ownership. If a developer can sell their product for slightly less than existing inventory, they're going to sell their product faster. And that's how it used to be, by the way. Some of us forget, but that is how it used to be. In Toronto, for example, development community contributions for single detached homes have surged from $12,910 in 2010 to $141,139 in 2024. That is a 993% increase. Are we getting 1,000% more value from our local government? I don't know. I'm not in Toronto. I have family that are, but I'm not. I can tell you from talking to them, they are not feeling like they are getting more value for their money, and they don't feel like their city is being any better managed, and or the infrastructure and everything else in there is going well. I think it is a train wreck, much the same as it is here on the North Shore. And again, I think a lot of this comes from having policies and things in place to increase our population and or our density without addressing the underlying infrastructure. And we're going to talk more about that topic because I have some strong feelings about that one in a moment. Nonetheless, I think it is really important for you, the viewer, to understand where the costs of construction come from. And right there, that is a huge increase. And that cost is always going to get passed on to the homeowner. Always. And when prices were just constantly going up, nobody cared. Beautiful. Now that prices have flatlined, maybe decreased a little bit, making things more difficult, isn't it? I don't know what to think, honestly. I kind of feel like there should be just like a federally regulated percentage DCC rate that is what is allowed to be charged, and that's that. You know, one of the things that I've never really understood about the whole DCC thing is you have a developer that's coming in and developing property. And so you've like say you've got some land and you put together a land assembly and you take 15 homes and you take those 15 homes and you eliminate the homes that are on there and you build 100 homes, townhouses. I don't know. Maybe that's not realistic. Maybe that's not reasonable. Maybe we say 15 turns to 50. Either way, we are increasing the number of units that are going to be paying property taxes in perpetuity. All of those new units are now going to be paying property taxes for the rest of time. I don't understand why we need DCCs. We're increasing the number of people paying property taxes. Like, is that not DCC enough? Like, I don't know. Let's move on to trade and tariff rows, because I mean, God, who doesn't like to talk about all of the craziness that is happening between Canada and the United States these days? One of the issues that we are seeing on our projects a little bit, but I know across the development community, these tariffs are really playing a massive part in cost increases. Now, one of the issues that I've also read is that there have been threats, and maybe from the time this video is released, maybe it'll already be in place, but there have been threats of like a 40% softwood lumber tariff on our Canadian lumber manufacturers. So what does that mean, and what happens when those things happen? Well, I'll tell you what happens. They start closing up, reducing the number of hours those mills are running. They start closing mills. In some cases, maybe they'll start moving mills down to the States. Like, it's not like those tariffs are going to make it so that prices here come down. That's not how it works. Don't kid yourself. That just isn't what happens. And I've been doing what I do for almost 20 years, and you see the same thing happen over and over and over again. If there's an oversupply of lumber or plywood or anything like that, all they do is just slow down production, decrease supply, which increases cost. I mean, it's a supply and demand. It's really, really simple, right? So if they are decreasing supply, that means they are also going to be decreasing the number of people working in those mills, which means jobs are being lost. Tariffs not good, but they're also having an impact on the cost of construction. So construction costs are actually going up because, like, listen, there's only one or two lumber mill owners, groups, whatever you want to call them, here in BC anyways. It's not like there's like dozens and dozens and dozens of people that are milling wood and selling it to the lumber yards. Not how it, like, that's the unfortunate part of where we've allowed ourselves to get, is we've got some monopolies or almost pseudo monopolies in place, so we don't have that competition and healthy price protection. I mean, I think the easy thing to do there is to increase competition, but again, I am not that smart and I don't exactly know how to make that happen. All I can do is point out the things that don't seem to be working and ask somebody a lot smarter than me to come up with solutions for that problem. Nonetheless, tariffs and trade conflict between Canada and the United States is definitely playing a part on lumber and plywood prices. And I would suggest that it is also going to potentially delay your project because it is taking longer to get things sometimes. So if you're in the middle of construction or you're getting started on construction, just anticipate that there's going to be some fluctuation in material costs, and know that until these tariffs and until we've got a trade deal with the Americans, it's going to be a little squirrely. Just a little, not a lot, but well, hopefully not a lot. What the heck do I know? But nonetheless, we just need to be cognizant of it, right? All right. So the next thing that I want to do, and yes, I have 3 screens. That's why I can look over here, and then there's a screen underneath the camera right now. Now you know. I started talking about infrastructure earlier, and I don't like being gaslit. And what do I mean by that? We have bureaucrats for the district of North Vancouver. And I was listening on a webinar yesterday. People in the comments kept asking the same questions, and never once did an answer come up. Oh, there's a plan. Oh, we're thinking about doing this. Okay, here, let's really simplify things. If we increase the population of an area, we thereby need to consider how many more hospital beds we need. How many more swimming lanes for people to swim in or for swimming lessons we need? How many more public gyms and public rec centers we need? How about, we've talked about it already today. How about sewage processing capability? Here's another interesting factoid. What about water? Are we increasing the amount of water in our reservoirs? Are we adding more storage capacity to our water reservoir system? The answer to all of these ponderances is, oh, there's a plan. There's no plan. There's nothing. And you know what? These bureaucrats are going through and they are talking about, oh, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. We need to have the infrastructure. Why are we adding more humans to an area when we don't have increased recreational facilities, increased library facilities, things that are a part of how we live here in British Columbia? I get that may not be the same as how other people live other places, but that is inconsequential. British Columbians and Canadians, we live here because of the social programs and amenities that our communities are supposed to be providing us. And holy mother of pearl, do we pay enough goddamn taxes so that we should be getting them? Tell me I'm wrong. All right, let's have a look and see what I'm going on and on and on about here. So here is the District of North Van's OCP website. So you can't see the address bar up here, but if you Google official community plan update, you'll get to this page, all right? What they're saying: diverse and appropriate housing is essential to a complete and thriving community. And over the past 2 years, the province of British Columbia has been implementing legislation that requires municipalities to add more homes more quickly. How about speeding up the permit process? Huh? Novel concept. As part of that legislation, the province now requires us to update our OCP to provide for 22,000 new homes in the district by 2041, also referred to as our 20-year housing need. This is another phase in the work to increase housing supply in all communities in BC. It's part of an ongoing conversation about shaping a community that meets current and future needs, but is also a significant change to how we have planned housing in the past. This work must be complete by the end of this year. It is, what is it, September of 25 right now. Public engagement. So they have the surveys that I mean, honestly, I've tried taking a couple of them. Don't make any sense. Nothing's clear. It's very, I don't know. Actually, it wasn't about the OCP. It was about something to do with TransLink and like some sort of rapid transit bus route across the North Shore, which has been tried before and failed absolutely beautifully. So I'm sure it's going to be better this time, because there's no traffic here on the North Shore. I don't know where you live, but I can tell you traffic on the North Shore is untenable, and it has only been getting worse. Theoretical scope of work: identify our 20-year housing needs. I mean, let me just tell you what I kind of gleaned from the webinar yesterday. They're looking at potentially increasing density in some specific neighborhoods, as well as increasing density in other neighborhoods that already had their density updated from the previous OCP. All right, so they are suggesting that they're going to advocate for infrastructure and service improvements. Advocate. How about we tell the province and the feds that we can't increase our density without more crossings across the freaking ocean? How about we say we can't do this unless we have more parking spaces at our local parks? How about we say we can't do this until we free up some more park space so that all the residents that live in this amazing country have the same access as we've had in years past to campsites, to our day use parks. I mean, the number of times Golden Ears and Alice Lake during the summer have people turned away because they're full. Like, that never used to be a thing, as far as I know anyways. I mean, I've been camping in both those areas for forever. There's just more people. It's really, really that simple. Our vibrant neighborhoods and centers are framed by our mountain backdrop, forests, streams, and shorelines. We live in an inclusive and supportive community that celebrates its rich heritage and lives in harmony with nature. Maybe we're going to get back to riding horses? Our neighborhoods include people of all ages, cultures, and incomes. Well, that's true. All are equally welcome, valued, and actively engaged in community life. Well, I'm not going to go with equally valued, because I can tell you the taxman's pretty happy to come and take property taxes and income taxes from those that make money or own property. Our young have safe and healthy environments in which to grow and succeed. Well, they just finished rebuilding our local school here, and I don't know about what happens where you live, but I can tell you by the time that school was built, it was already too small for the number of students going to it. Genius. Our network of well-designed, livable centers provides a wide range of housing options and opportunities to shop, work, and gather. It's starting to sniff a little bit like that whole 20-minute city that we started hearing about a while back. Our local businesses are resilient and diverse, providing the services we need and an array of employment opportunities. Well, hey, I'm one of those people. Cool. Education, art, culture, and recreation enrich our daily lives. We are an active, healthy, and creative community. Yeah, I agree with that. Our enviable pedestrian and cycling network connects us to our destinations and our unparalleled natural environment. The F out of here with that. Our cycling network is crap, and our pedestrian network ain't much better. The problem is we've built these cities without thinking about these things first, right? When you go to someplace like Whistler, there is purpose-built pedestrian and cycling walkways, pathways, whatever you want to call them. I mean, it's incredible what they've done in Whistler, but North Van's already built. So unless we're going to start buying back people's homes and repurposing a bunch of land towards cycling and walking routes, I just don't see how it happens. The other issue that we have here on the North Shore anyways, is that it's a mountainous region. There's a lot of hills. You know, Whistler, at least at the base, it's relatively flat. I mean, sure, there's a few hills here and there, but generally the base of Whistler is pretty flat. It's not so flat at the top of it, I promise you. Okay, many people walk, cycle, and take transit. Leaving their cars at home as viable alternatives are available. Okay, I'll tell you what, right here and now, all right? If you want to take public transit and get from A to B on the North Shore, or going from the North Shore to Vancouver, you are minimally doubling your travel time. Minimally. So if it would take you 20 minutes to drive there, it will take minimally 40 minutes to take the bus. I would suggest it's probably triple. So if you have nothing but time on your hands, then yeah, absolutely, public transit's the way to go. As far as cycling goes, as I have said so many times on this channel, it rains and snows here. It rains a lot, and it's cold. Like, I mean, it's not like freezing cold, but it's cold. Like, it's uncomfortably cold. I don't know about you, but I I don't think my clients are going to be super keen on me showing up to a new client meeting, a new client proposal with sopping wet rain gear on top of me, puddling in their foyer as I walk in, my hair all a muss and stinking like sweat because I've just ridden my bike to their home. How are you going to transport your teenage kids? I've seen lots of people like transporting their young kids around. Cool. It's awesome. Anyways, it's a great vision, but it's just like these people are on crack. It's not happening. Our community is effectively addressing and adapting to the challenges of climate change. Our air is clean. Our water is pure. Our waste is minimal. Our lifestyle is sustainable. Action Plan 2021 to 2030. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right. We need to start demanding our leaders address infrastructure issues first. We need to stop building opulent, gorgeous, architecturally beautiful recreation facilities. They just need to work. Stop it. Maximize the spend, not the optical wow factor. Do you care what the building looks like from the outside when you're playing hockey or lifting weights in the gym or swimming laps in the pool or watching your kid at swimming lessons? No, you don't give a shit what the outside of the building looks like. You want the pool to be warm and the ice to be cold. Come on, people. Let's get our priorities straight. All right? Anyways, that's probably enough for me today. You know, I just want to be here for everybody as a sounding board and kind of just run my mouth a little bit and talk about my ideas and what goes on in my mind, and you know, see if there are other people that are as frustrated as I am, or maybe find out like how other people are thinking and have my mind changed. And I'm looking forward to learning. I am a dedicated lifelong learner, and if you have other thoughts about how these things can happen and how we can achieve some sort of solution that makes everybody happy, I'd love to hear from you. I really would. In the meantime, let's make sure we hold our government officials and bureaucrats accountable for the work that they do. A wastewater treatment plant is going 4 times over budget. People need to lose their jobs, plain and simple. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Bye now.